Hello and welcome to a new episode of our show 31 Minutes. Today's episode is exclusive as we're covering the centennial celebrations. Our correspondents prepared several reports on this special occasion, as well as current events happening on campus. The American University in Cairo launches its centennial celebration at the Tahrir campus, where it all began. More about the centennial kickoff event in the upcoming report by Toka Omar.
This year, the American University in Cairo turns 100, and the launch of its year-long celebrations has taken place at the newly renovated Tahrir Old Campus. The opening speeches of the day have recognized the contribution of AUC community to the continuous growth of the university in the previous years.
I would like to take this opportunity to ask our currently serving faculty and our retired faculty, please to stand and let us thank you and salute you for your service over these years. Faculty members.
The university is also celebrating the opening of Tahrir Cultural Center that will be open to public and sponsored by the businessman Naguib Sawiris.
We will have a clear program for a whole year with movies, theater plays, bands that are going to come here. And during the week and during weekends also people can just come here and sit in the sun and grab a coffee and read a book from the library.
In addition to the guests of honor, notable AUC alumni were eager to be part of the day and enjoy the festive atmosphere.
AUC to me is not just a place where I studied in the library, but it's a place where I had many mentors.
I wish AUC all the success in the world. AUC is a university that has managed to keep up with the times all over these years. It's a challenge in itself.
The festivities were remarkable, and the audience has enjoyed a variety of live performances and other fun activities.
اليوم جميل جدا طبعا واحلى حاجه في اليوم عجبتني السبيريت بتاعت الالومناي.
I feel like home again. It's been like 12 years now, and I'm used with the entertainment and the changes. I haven't seen the science building gone.
أنا أصلاً يعني not that familiar مع الأولد campus. أنا new campus just graduated أصلاً. بس اليوم شكله لذيذ و I'm happy إن أنا graduated in this occasion الصراحة.
AUC Centennial celebrations will continue throughout the year with a series of different events and activities across the globe. Toka Omar, AUCTV, Cairo.
In line with the centennial celebration, Naguib Sawiris Cultural Center is opening its doors for the public, exhibiting the works of prominent Egyptian artists. More on this topic in the next report. AUC is celebrating 100 years of being a cultural hub that hosts arts in all its shapes and forms. As part of the centennial celebration, AUC presents the first exhibition for Huda Lutfi in over 20 years. Through this exhibition, Huda tries to communicate abstract concepts like dreams and silence, as well as reflecting on the contrast between life and death.
I think I wanted the words dreams and silence because we're all the time dreaming and we don't appreciate silence. So I thought I wanted to call attention for that.
Huda Lutfi is a pioneer of contemporary art in Egypt. She's known for using various styles and techniques, including painting, collage, and calligraphy. She combines them all together to form unique and meaningful pieces of art. For 26 years, Huda Lutfi was a professor of Islamic cultural history at AUC. She uses her knowledge and background in history as a source of inspiration for her work. She's inspired by symbols and events from different ancient cultures such as the Coptic, Islamic, and Pharaonic civilizations. This diversity adds more depth and dimension to her work.
I've looked at a lot of ancient Egyptian art, and I think of ways how to be inspired by it without copying it. That is, how to establish a connection between the past and the present.
Similar to meditation, the work of Huda Lutfi puts its viewer in a reflective and calm state of mind that allows him to get away from the fast-moving world we're living in. This is Salma Nassar for AUCTV, Cairo. Back in 1951, the demonstrations of the Egyptian feminist Dalia Shafiq took off from AUC Tahrir campus to demand the rights for women to vote. Today, almost 70 years later, AUC is commemorating her memory. The details are in the next report by Dalia Ashraf.
In 19th February, in the year 1951, in the American University in Cairo, 1,500 women gathered in this place, Ewart Hall, as a starting point of their demonstration to demand for their rights in voting in the Egyptian constitution. This women's liberation movement was led by Dalia Shafiq. Dalia was an Egyptian feminist and chief editor of two famous magazines, La Femme Nouvelle and Bint el-Nil. She called for women's equal rights.
Once there, that she had gotten on the stage and started talking, and she said, you know, that it's about time that we ask for our rights, that we're here at Ewart Hall. Let us, all of us, the 1,500 persons that were there, march out. The parliament is just next door. Let's march out and storm the parliament and ask them to negotiate to give us the right to vote.
68 years ago, Dalia Shafiq and demonstrators went outside of this hall and walked on this floor to move to the parliament. But now, in the memorial of this historical event, you will find in front of this hall an art exhibition, Bint el-Nil, made for her by Shireen Girgis.
Dalia's story is extremely inspiring. Her persistence as an artist, a poet, a writer, a mother, her persistence, not just, she was extremely comfortable. She didn't have to push herself and push her country forward, but she insisted on that. And that was really inspiring to me. So I take a lot of her poetry and a lot of her methodology, and I think that poetry and abstract art really are connected. And a lot of her interests and my interests in ancient Egyptian art, of course, because I was raised in Nassar, so that was really important to me. And I kind of tried to blend that together through abstraction.
Bint el-Nil, or Dalia Shafiq, was an important icon of women liberation, and as a direct result of her efforts, the government granted to women, for the first time, the rights of voting by the Egyptian constitution in 1956. After years, the AUC in its centennial commemorates her memory.
It's a beautiful acknowledgement of what she has done. She's really done quite a bit for Egypt, and for very long, because of her political stance, she was she was silenced, and so seeing her acknowledged the way it was done in the centennial made me very proud and very happy for and my sister too.
I remember Mom just a few days before she passed away asked me, Jahan, I hope it was all worthwhile, and I said, Mommy, it was certainly worthwhile. And today, really, it makes me infinitely happy and maybe a bit too emotional to continue talking. Thank you.
Dalia Shafiq passed away in 1975, but her achievements for women liberation make her alive in the history and in AUC Centennial. Dalia Ashraf, AUCTV.
AUC's bookstores are celebrating the centennial of the American University in Cairo in their special way. The bookstore is divided into 3 branches. The textbook shop, where it carries academic books, the campus shop, where it has non-academic books, stationery, and selected gifts, And finally, the university shop.
Is where we are now, and this is a very active and dynamic shop. In the first place, we introduced to the university the AUC Press publications and new publications and all the books published by the AUC Press. Now we changed the place to be a place for the centennial celebration. We carry here very selective, authentic product.
The university shop used to sell books published by the AUC Press, which is a pioneer publisher for Arabic language learning books, and translated Arabic books into English. For this special occasion, the university shop dedicated the whole year to showcase and sell exclusive items that mix between modernity and heritage.
We did a lot of effort. We have a good buyer, Esther Nader. We visited a wide range of suppliers. We tried to find very Egyptian cultural products that have the spirit of the AUC history.
The product selection wasn't easy as the history of AUC merges between the foreign culture and the Egyptian culture. But when looking at the items being sold, they were purposely made in Egypt to represent authenticity and the culture by using the Arabic calligraphy and the AUC centennial logo.
When we were thinking about the products that we'll be selling in the Centennial shop, we wanted products that are elegant, authentic, Egyptian, handmade preferably, and at the same time have the AUC Centennial logo.
The pop-up shop targets students, faculty, staff, and AUC visitors by a wide range of products being offered, with prices that range between 55 and 900 Egyptian pounds.
We had a lot of audience from the alumni and all the audiences that were in the Centennial, and the interaction with the gifts and the items that we have. It was really good, and they really liked the quality of the products, and especially with the prices where are really reasonable.
This is just the beginning. More items will be added to the collection and more publicity will take place. This is Dania Elmor, AUCTV.
Here on AUC campus, the month of African Americans is also known as Black History Month, but unfortunately, it's not usually celebrated on campus. Mansourah Kamal reports more on this.
AUC Library is one of the facilities that has been recently acknowledging the Black History Month, which is also known as the African American Month. The library showcases books that commemorate the life and struggles of important people in the history of the African diaspora. Salah Saudi is a graduate student who works at the library in Research Information Services. For the Black History Month's collection, he is in charge of selecting and shelving the books for display.
In the library, we only started the display last year. Actually, our student leaders last year helped us also on the display in terms of the books and the selection and everything. So it's not just my own effort alone. It's very important to learn about not just African diaspora in the US. We actually are part of Africa. We are in North Africa, but we are still in Africa.
This month was founded in the year 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. It started out as a Negro History Week to help people of color learn about themselves, to combat the misinformation that was going on at the time. He chose February month for a reason, as it coincided with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln, which falls on the 12th of February, and that of Frederick Douglass on the 14th of February. His aim was to promote, honor, and recognize the historical contribution of African Americans in science, politics, sports, art, and more. Some might argue that Black History Month shouldn't be attributed to a month, just as there is no White History Month or Asian History Month there shouldn't be a black one either. History is history, and it shouldn't be limited to just a month.
Black History Month you find ridiculous. Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
This is Mansourah Kamal, AUCTV, Cairo.
Today we have with us in the studio a prominent professor who has been teaching at the American University in Cairo for 28 years. He is the founder of the legal and financial management courses offered at the School of Science and Engineering. Professor Amr Hassanein, welcome to AUCTV. So as the founder of the legal and financial management courses in the Department of Construction, can you tell us more about these courses?
The purpose of these courses is to open the door for our construction students to enter into the area of construction management and to be able to equip them with necessary tools for management. Among the very necessary tools for management are the financial area and the legal and contractual area. Construction students will almost inevitably have to deal when they go up the ladder, they have to deal with financial issues and with legal and contractual issues. Mm-hmm. These two courses prepare them to do that.
Okay, so in your opinion, what does the market in the field of engineering require from the students, and how can your courses meet those requirements?
Actually, these courses will help our students as they go up the corporate ladder. They are not designed to help them at the lower levels of management, like planning on a site or scheduling or cost estimating. But once they go up a little bit in the managerial level, up the corporate ladder, then they will definitely have to deal with financials and they will have to deal with legal and contractual, just like any executive who goes up the corporate ladder. So this is what these courses do for them. Now, the courses
it not only makes them good construction engineers, but they can also be CEOs of whole projects.
Exactly. They will become executives, top executives in their companies. You cannot grow up in the corporate ladder, you cannot become a top executive if you are unable to deal with financial and legal matters. We do not prepare them to be accountants or financial managers, we do not prepare them to be lawyers, but we prepare them to be able to handle accountants, financial managers, and lawyers.
Widening their perspective beyond just the engineering aspect of things, right?
Exactly, widening their perspective and in essence really breaking the barrier between them and the financial profession and between them and the legal profession. We're breaking that barrier. Now, should they decide that they want to go deeper into either of these, then they can. But at least we're breaking...
But they need to take further...
Of course. They would need to study further and take further courses/degrees in order to qualify. But we've broken the barrier by doing that.
Okay, this is very interesting actually. So how many universities in Egypt or the Middle East offer those kinds of courses to engineering students?
When we started our program, the answer is none. None.
Okay.
There were no universities in Egypt or in the Middle East that offered these courses. Now,
so
by
you are
time,
a pioneer.
Yes, this was new. The courses were new for our university, and they were really designed specifically for the university here. Now, as time went by, people started copying our courses. They started taking our materials and copying the material. But of course, the delivery will be different. There is no doubt about that.
It wouldn't be as in-depth as students who take it here at AUC?
There would definitely be a difference, and the market does recognize that.
Okay. So in our digital world, and technology is actually dominating all the fields, and especially, of course, engineering. How can the engineering department here at AUC update their curriculum to cope up with those changes taking place?
Well, the engineering department does work on updating the curriculum, does work on having new courses. So let's talk about the construction department. For example, in our construction department, we went through a major revision of our courses and of our offerings 3 years ago. So we added courses in BIM modeling.
Sorry, what's BIM modeling?
BIM modeling is where you take a structure and you model it on a computer so that you can see inside the structure on a computer. The structure that we have around us here, it includes beams, it includes HVAC ducts, it includes lots of things behind what you are seeing. The BIM modeling allows you to model all of this on a computer so that you can see all of the hidden things on a computer and manage yourselves through all of this. So this is part of what we are doing with our courses.
This is something that's already taking place regularly?
Yes, yes. No, we always update our courses, and every few years we just make a stop and we look again at what we can add and how to make our program coherent and including the latest, the up to par material that can be offered to our students.
Okay, so moving on to the notion of entrepreneurship. From your experience, what are the characteristics that should be there in an individual or a student at AUC in order to later become a successful entrepreneur? The foundations, the basics that should be in him as an individual.
Okay, as an individual, to become a good entrepreneur, a student needs to learn, first of all, some basics, okay? Number one, let's say basics of management. That's number one. Number two, basics of science. He needs to understand the various physical phenomena around him. Number three, basics of leadership. You know, how to lead people, how to manage people and how to lead them. The HR issue is a very important issue. Number four, morals and ethics, professional behavior, professional attitude. I think these are some of the very important basics that would provide for a good entrepreneur.
And with that, if even one of those aspects is missing, would he be able to make it, or he may face difficulties?
It's a problem because if you are unable to deal with others in a moral and ethical manner, then you lose ground in the market. If you are unable to manage your people, you lose ground in the market. If you do not understand the physical phenomena around you, you lose ground. If you do not understand the basics of management, like some financials, some contracting, some reporting, you know, you lose ground. You are unable to continue. So no, I think these are, I would say that these are four among the very essential
fundamental
things. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Character is important, and we definitely work on character of our students, and should work and should continue working more on that.
Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Amr, in light of the devaluation of the Egyptian pound and the current economic situation, what crucial advice would you like to give to entrepreneurs in order to maintain and grow their business?
Well, let me tell you something. In order to maintain and grow their business, entrepreneurs should always look at trying to think of exporting services. The fact that the devaluation is mainly geared towards exports. Our entrepreneurs, when they start, they will start with SMEs, what we call SMEs, small and medium enterprises.
Okay.
Small and medium enterprises in many countries were able to break the export barrier. They should always think of looking outside the local market. Yes, look at the local market, but also try to see what the world outside needs and try to export. The major advantage of devaluation is to allow our services and our offerings and our products to become more competitive compared to the international market, and they should take advantage of that.
So they should think more global,
absolutely.
Beyond the local
absolutely,
economy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so Dr. Amr, now we have many entrepreneurs in Egypt. So does this have a significant effect on the economy, having many small startups? Or if it's small, it doesn't have that much impact?
No, 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 no. Small is beautiful in business, and small is controllable, and small is able to deliver. Do you know something? Gucci of Italy started as a small enterprise. Many of the brands of Italy, many of the greatest brands of Italy started as small enterprises, SMEs. So no, we can have as many small enterprises as we can. The market should be open to all of this, and we should try to compete at both the local level and the international level, maintaining quality.
But they do have impact in it.
Of course, they will have impact. We need to maintain quality. Quality assurance and quality standards are very important. Being able to claim a certain quality standard, that is a very important aspect of having the impact.
So for entrepreneurs in Egypt, what are the fields that you would recommend that they enter and start up their businesses, and what other fields you would advise them to avoid, if that's applicable?
Well, there are fields that are ready for entrepreneurs to be able to venture into. Let's talk about ready-made garments. Let's talk about textiles. Let's talk about small agri-businesses. And that's a very important thing. And a lot of these can export to the outside market. You see, when we look at economies, there are two major drivers of development: industry and agriculture. So anything stemming off of those will be an added value to the economy. So agribusiness is an added value of economy, and if you think of it, agribusiness is endless. The opportunities in agribusiness is endless. If you talk about manufacturing, then you can have small industries that relate to car manufacturing, that relate to garments and textiles, that relate to furniture. You know, all of these are opportunities in which they can excel. We have excellent furniture business in Egypt, but we need to build up on it, and we need to be able to export and open export markets there.
But there are no fields that you would advise them to avoid. So from your opinion, all fields are open and the competition is...
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And I would also advise them to venture into the IT area because this is where the future lies. And most of the IT, very, very large IT industries today and companies, again, started as very, very, very small companies.
So the IT sector in Egypt still can be further explored? The market is not saturated?
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, they can work on applications, many apps, and Egyptians are intelligent, and they can work on apps that would fit the local environment and that would go international after that. There are many, many things that can be done in this area, absolutely.
So, Dr. Amr, what does Egypt need from us in the upcoming period? And what is our role as the young generation that we contribute during this period?
There is a very important role for the young generation. There is no doubt. Make no mistake about that. If you look at the analysis of Egypt overall, Egypt economically is not very bad. I mean, Egypt is characterized by having what we call a deep and diversified economy. Egypt suffers a little bit.
Can you further elaborate what do you mean by a deep and diversified economy?
I mean a large GDP. Egypt has 100 million people and has a very large GDP. GDP of Egypt before devaluation used to be $330 billion. Today it is something like $230 billion. Just to give you some perspective, if you talk about the GDP of a country like Kuwait who is giving us donations, it's 100 plus. If you talk about Qatar, it's 100 plus, 150 or something. If you talk about countries like Lebanon, Bahrain and so on, you're talking about $30 billion and 20-some billion dollars. So no, Egypt is a heavy country. It's a large economy, deep economy, and it's pretty diversified. What do you mean by diversified? You're talking about, you have manufacturing, you have agriculture, you have tourism, you have minerals, you have all sorts. There isn't.
You're not only depending on oil like Saudi Arabia and Gulf countries.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're very diversified, and this is a strength of this economy. Now, where Egypt has a problem is in the institutional part. The institutions of Egypt are weak. They are unable to deliver what they are mandated to deliver. And the institutions are weak because of three indicators. The corruption index indicator, the rule of law index indicator, and the government effectiveness index indicator. This is where the young generation, it means, all of this means that we need good human resource.
I'm sorry, can you further elaborate the indicators?
The indicators are mainly the rule of law index, and this measures how the law is being implemented, how strong the laws of the country are, and the implementation of the laws. We're talking about the justice system in general, and how strong the justice system is, and how properly implemented it is. The corruption index, this is a measure of corruption, and then the government effectiveness index measures how effective are the various governments, institutions of the government in delivering their social contract with the people. You see, we all interact with government agencies. Even those entrepreneurs who will have businesses, they will have to interact with government agencies to produce licenses, to produce taxes, to pay taxes, to produce documents. If the government
agencies should be working effectively to help.
Exactly. If the government agencies are not as effective as they should be, then the business environment.
The growth of
exactly.
businesses.
That's it. This is so we need stronger institutions. Stronger institutions means stronger people, more capable people inside these institutions in order to lead the institutions, prevent corruption, lead the institutions forward, and make sure that the rule of law is applied equally to all. This is where the younger generation comes in.
This is very important indeed. So Dr. Amr, going back to AUC, since you have been teaching students here for almost 30 years, what are the changes that you've noticed in the students' attitude toward their studies and their personalities? Are they becoming more bolder in taking risks and being entrepreneurs, or you don't really notice a difference in this aspect?
AUC students have always been bold, and many of our students, first of all, let's talk about our students' population. Our student population, some of them graduates of the construction engineering department, some of them work in banks, some of them work in investment banks, some of them work in the financial departments of manufacturing companies like Unilever and like Procter & Gamble. So our students have taken on careers that are different from the traditional areas. Now, some of them are entrepreneurs, some of them have their own contracting companies, some of them have gone as far as doing the private business with their families. So you know, I mean, our students have always been bold in taking risks and in taking on various tasks. Changes, well, just like changes all over the world.
I mean, in line with the centennial celebrations, what are the changes that you think should take place in AUC as an institute or in the construction engineering department, taking AUC into the next decade?
We need to, as a construction department, I think we need to continue being as bold as we are. We are bold in the sense, as I said, our students study a wide variety of courses, and they go into a wide variety of areas: banks, manufacturing companies, financial departments, contracts. I mean, some of the leading contractual and legal departments of construction companies are being led by our construction students. So we need to continue along this line and to continue being bold in that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amr Hassanein, for being with us today. Thank you for watching. We can take out of this interview that in this millennial, being an engineer is not enough. You have to have the legal background, you have to have the financial background and the ethical background to carry up your business. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode.